Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Austin here with StarCraft II commentary number 2. So today I'll be bringing you some 2v2 action, actually, with Hesperide, who we saw in the last replay, and just two opponents of ours on Battle.net, Zyrec and Frames. So it's going to be a Protoss. It's going to be a Protoss Terran against Protoss Terran. So my friend and I had just come off a loss, so as you can just see in the conversation here, we're just going for some our reliable strategies. We decided not to go for anything outside of the ordinary. My most comfortable strategy against PT is 3-gate robo fast expand. So you get your 3 warp gates and robo up, and then you expand quickly to have a fast moving economy. And so, of course, I will not tell you the outcome of this game, but I can tell you it was an excellent replay. I had a lot of fun playing it. I'm sure I will have a lot of fun recording it. And anyway, as we just get going economically, I'd just like to say a few verbal comments on the last commentary. So one major problem I noticed with the video, after I was able to upload it perfectly in HD and proper aspect ratio and everything, I said the word coming down probably the words coming down probably a multitude of times. Anytime an upgrade was quote unquote coming down, I would express it. Anytime units were coming in, like Banewing morphs, it was funny in retrospect. I must have said it at least over a dozen times, maybe a few dozen times. And so anyway, just some basic play. The gas and gateway coming down here for Frames. So there is coming down, as you see. I need to work on some synonyms for that, as coming down is quite irreplaceable. So here's a 2 gas from Zyrec, and this raised some suspicion. As you may see, my scout came in, and we immediately, you may even see in conversation here, we thought to ourselves that the 2 gas, that's surprising. You know, is he going straight to Cloak Banshees? And there we go, just a little bit of conversation. 2 gas already. You know, it was a little surprising, but no adaptation of my strategy. As you can see here, just the assimilator going down. I got a late assimilator, and then the cybernetics. So I was kind of stalled. I guess my jaw was so busy on the floor after seeing that 2 gas. So then we briefly scouted in the opposing base, just the usual. You got the second assimilator, and then we just got an outside barracks. So what would that amount to? We were not sure. So then I said all in. I initially thought 2 gas was all in, then realized it's more of a late game macro harass strategy. But anyways, we decided to just I like how this scout was eliminated, actually. The Marine just focusing fire on it, and then all of a sudden, the probe turns around, gives it some resistance. So, specifically, we've got the early Twilight Council here for Frames, and immediately that will evidence to you either Charge Rod Archon or Dark Templar harass, right? So unfortunately we did not see that initially, and just some usual play here from Hesperide. He's just got the 2 barracks, and over here Zyrec going for the 2 factory, actually. So he would he's probably going to go into reactor Hellions or siege tanks. So I've just got this idle probe sitting here, and there it is, the Dark Shrine going down for Frames right here in this little obstructed corner of the base. So immediately that further cements the evidence with regards to whether or not he was going Charge Rod Archon or Dark Templar. So either of these is possible, and my Warp Gate tech just coming in now, and so is his. So I got to work on personally my Warp Gate timing. I usually need I just need to fix when I get my gas in and such. Anyway, so Stimpak coming down from my friend Hesperide here, and for some reason they sent another scout. I'm not sure why they did that. Picked off immediately. Perhaps he had set a bad rally point, something of the sort. And there's my robotics coming down. So immediately I figured Protoss Terran, it's often siege tanks and stalkers that you're going to be facing, and Immortals are the ultimate counter to that. They just absorb every hit, and they will hand the game to you when you're presented with such a situation. So siege tech, sure enough, coming down for Zyrec, and multiple siege tanks. So instead of the reactor Hellions, he's going for more of a siege play. And personally, for me, I've got Warp Gate just barely finishing, and right there, Hesperide got a Reaper in his opponent's base and saw the Dark Shrine. So right away, I thought he was recommending actually to me a Dark Shrine. I thought he wanted me to get one for some reason, and then I realized no, he saw one. So immediately I realized, hey, I've got the Robo up. I can just get some observers out, and these will be an asset for me if he goes for Dark Archons, which I'm sure he will if he's got the Dark Shrine down. And then so here's the siege tank down, and a pretty admirable wall. I think it might have a hole here though, so I'm not sure if Zyrec noticed that. And on a side note, I'm not sure if conversation is being displayed for everybody. I'm quite sure it is. It says view perspective everyone, but I guess our opponents either were random 2v2, which is likely because there are different ranks, and or we just were doing most of the talking. So anyway, I was getting the observer here, and I was just able to get it. So a pretty sizable force for both of us and our opponents as well. And I find observers are often discredited. These things can prove to be true scouting assets. You get them following one of your opponent's unit groups, and that they could give you that early evidence of an enemy push, and you could just be entirely prepared. So there's charge coming down for I keep forgetting the name, Frames. And he's gonna probably go for the Chargewad Archon here, and there's the Archon. So yes, Chargewad Archon. I'm not sure why he'd want to go for such a build. There's no Zerg player in here. There's no, you know, I don't think. I guess he's predicting the predominantly bio build M&Ms. So Hesperide's army was mostly M&Ms. So I guess that was a pretty smart strategy for him at that point. So our opponents here just generally massing up, as are we. So it's just some macro play, and there is a Protoss Shields level 1 landing, not coming down, and Terran weapons infantry. So we're both just, Hesperide and I, as well as our opponents, we're all playing some tech, and there is my Immortal. This little guy will surely pay dividends against these siege tanks, against these Archons, against this Protoss army consisting of Chargewats and Stalkers. And there's a DT down. I'm not sure if he was going for the another Archon Warp or just straight up DT Eco Harass, because if you can land DTs in your opponent's mineral line, they will be unmatchable. These things get like 45 damage. They can kill a probe in one hit. So if you can just get a couple hits off, even those DT's costs are justified. And so I was just getting my Warp Prism here. Personally, I did not mention it in a video I have on my channel. Personally, I love Warp Prisms. They're mobile pylons, warp in units anywhere you want. So there's a multi-siege tank push, and all of a sudden I see this on my observer vision. So this is where that observer vision comes into play. I see that siege tank push. I'm in a panic. I'm like, geez, I need to get some Immortals out right away. There's that second one, and I said push coming, you know, an immediate panic. So he starts to pull it back a bit, and my friend and I just decided to go for a push of our own, just to put pressure and take that middle. So of course here's the observer following those siege tanks. I go for the mass at center, but then there is the push. So he's gonna get that row of siege tank. There's the charge watch revealed. So as you can see here, this Immortal is just gonna sit behind the lines and just get a massive amount of kills. And I think my second Immortal finished soon after, and there's that line of siege tanks pounding Hesperide's biological army. Then all of a sudden this Immortal just showing how much of a pro he is, picking off those siege tanks, and there's 4 kills. And then I think I should maybe, at this point I thought I should maybe pull back, and then all of a sudden you'll see Hesperide's recommendation. He said pressure, because it was a push. And then so here's those DTs coming down and coming out, not coming down, and there's the observer vision. Had I not had that, I would have been hopeless against these DTs. So, and I forgot about that one actually, so I didn't realize I hadn't taken them all down. So the essential observer vision, and then I get the pressure on my opponent's base. So here's that famous Immortal, 6 kills by now, and the Stalker army I've just been able to mass up, and here's the wall going down. It's kind of late, and I said DT's on the way in reference to that one DT I saw going kind of rogue. Then I realized my friend had a missile turret, and we were kind of safe at that point. So here's some charge rods coming in, and just that Mortal still massing more kills, and then so all these SCVs. Well, not all these. That one SCV trying to repair the siege tank, and I'm just putting ultimate pressure on my opponent's base. And so I quickly decide to warp in the 3 units and get this Warp Prism in mobile mode and get it up to the front line. So that's what I mean by Warp Prisms being so effective. They are just the ultimate frontliners. There's the 10 kills on that Immortal, 4 kills on the other. So they all go to work on the charge watts, and then all of a sudden, these, I believe the 2 will survive. 1 might go down. Yes, 1 does go down. So the 10 kills goes down, but his apprentice, we should say, gets 7, 8, 9, and just pushes on that natural. So all these stalkers, they're 1-0. I didn't actually have much time for tech. 3 Dark Templars coming out. Little does Frames know I have the Observer Vision out here, and so these 3 DTs are going to come out, and they're just hopeless at this point. So immediately, see, this War Prism provides that essential frontline support. So I actually had a very little amount of stalkers, but was able to just mass up at the front line. So Frames leaves the game, Zyrec leaves the game, Hesperide leaves the game, and so we win this matchup. And I find, I do apologize if this video is more of a play-by-play, you know, more of a retelling of a story than an actual blind replay. I will try to do mostly 1v1s, but, you know, the occasional 2v2 can never hurt. It is quite fun and expands on the game. Anyway, so just with a review to this matchup, you could argue that I did outperform Hesperide, but essentially it came down to the strategy and the efficiency of my strategy against my opponent. So 3-gate Robo against Charge Rod Archon and Siege Tank, basically mass Siege Tanks, was just too effective with that Observer Vision on the DTs. That was just far too effective. And in this score, I did come first, but marginally over Hesperide. So he was able to beat me in resources, and I find that his army essentially absorb the fire of the fire of that initial push, and so I did not lose that immortal which proved so essential, and did not lose that immortal which proved so essential, and was able to just have enough of an army to put pressure on that Terran wall. And so our opponents, they were ranked mid and high silver. They played a quite good game. The Charge Rod Archon strategy quite innovative and effective. It was well deployed in this situation. The Terran strategy of the Siege Tank pressure would have been quite miraculous had you just lined up a ton of Siege Tanks here and just brought the pressure to our front lines, hence the name Siege Tanks. Would have just wiped out my pylon, probably wiped out our massing armies, and just would have allowed some DTs to flow in. If Hesperide's Reaper had not seen the Dark Shrine, it would have allowed DTs just to flow in and just destroy our army. So that's another way the game could have gone had we not had. So Hesperide did provide an essential scout on the Dark Shrine, so Hesperide's scouting essentially saved our butts in this game. Had we not seen that, even though I would have gone 3-gate Robo, observers do take some time. We would have lost most of our army to those DTs, and most of our economy in the game probably would have gone downhill from there with the Siege Tank pressure and such. But we were able to win because of my strategies. A great advantage. Immortals, please do use them if you are a Protoss player against Terran and other fellow Protoss. They are just wondrous units that can absorb so much damage and inflict so much on their opponents. So my strategy's advantage over the opponents, tech-wise and macro-wise, it was not that long a game, so I can't go too much into depth about that. But overall, I think it was a solid game on both parts, and Hesperide and I were able to come out on top due to just a few lucky strategy advantages, and Hesperide's useful scout. So I will see you next time on StarCraft II commentary. This is Austin signing off. Thank you.